This show is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. The content on this show is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such condition.
This is Rooted in Healing with Dr. Beth Claxton, exploring the science of functional medicine and the power of healing from within. Breathe in. Breathe out. And now your host, Dr. Beth Claxton.
Hi, this is Beth Claxton. Welcome back to Rooted in Healing. Today's guest is someone who is in a space that is unique to medicine right now. It's a meditative space, and she has a concentration in a modality called heart math. Her name is Barb Hudak. She's a trainer for the Heart Math Institute. And what is heart math? Heart math was developed in 1991 by someone named Doc Childrey, and he had the goal to bridge the connection between the heart and the mind through the intuition of heart intelligence. Like, okay, how do you measure this? How can this be scientific? Like the heart and mind connection. What I have known for years, and I'll mention this in the interview, as an OBGYN, we use external fetal monitoring to monitor fetuses while the mother is in labor to see how the baby is doing, to measure its strength, its neurological function, its resilience to the stress that's happening in labor. And the heart rate variability is reflected in the fetal monitor strip. So for years, I've been watching fetal heart rate variability and knowing, or the baby tells us, whether it is tolerating labor well or whether it's not, and maybe time for a C-section because it's not going to withstand the stress of more contractions, vaginal delivery. And it also reflects the pH, the acidity of the blood. And we, as obstetricians, have been trained to understand at what point we need to deliver the baby another way or get it out in a hurry. The natural way, it helps us know what's going on. So they have used this heart rate variability that was measured in fetuses to measure it in adults so that we can know what our resilience is. And that's our resilience to the outward stresses of our environment, how we're going to handle the next virus that comes into our body, how we're handling the stress of our day-to-day lives, how we're exercising, how we're sleeping. All of these things, as we know, affect our resilience and our ability to manage stress. So this creation of heart math is a beautiful way to measure heart rate variability. You get a little clip and you put it on your ear. There's an app on the phone, and we can actually watch our own heart rate variability and whether it's showing resilience and a healthy place, or whether we're strung out and not doing so well. So it's funny to hear Barb's story in this interview today. She was a nurse at a high-powered institution, and they gave her this monitor to put on her ear and watch her heart rate variability. And she kept saying, "This one's broken. I need another one." And they'd give her a new one. "This one's broken. I need another one." And it took her a while, and they finally had to tell her, "It's not broken." And she had to realize that, oh, maybe I'm the one that's broken. Maybe I'm the one that needs to do the work to figure out my heart rate variability. And the beautiful thing about heart math is there are tools that teach us how to regain our heart rate variability so that we can regain our resilience And truthfully, it's almost like watching ourselves meditate with a monitor on and find our heart rate variability. And it doesn't happen instantaneously. And some days we're having good days, some days we're having bad days. And when I pop that sensor on and it's a stressful day, it's not the best heart rate variability. And with the feedback patterns, the feedback exercises, we can definitely start to teach ourselves a biofeedback loop to help regain the heart rate variability. So that's an introduction to the interview today. So you understand a little bit more about the importance of heart math, the importance of this technique, and how unique it is that we can actually measure these waves of connection between the brain and the heart. And we learned through those little babies that were trying to come out. So today we're going to have Barb Hudak. You're listening to Rooted in Healing, and we'll be right back after these messages.
And now, more Rooted in Healing with Dr. Beth Claxton.
Welcome back, and thank you for tuning into the show. I'm your host, Dr. Beth Claxton, and this is Rooted in Healing. Today we have with us a really special guest, someone local from Sedona, and we are recording at the radio station. Her name is Barbara Hudak, and Barbara is a former U.S. Air Force major and cardiac intensive care nurse with over 40 years of experience in healthcare. While she was on the nursing administration team at Mayo Clinic in Arizona, she embraced holistic healing and became a certified Usi Reiki master teacher. Barbara is a heart math certified master trainer and coach, specializing in heart coherence and resilience training, emotional self-regulation, and trauma release. She uses a blend of energy work, crystal-infused essential oils, and spiritual intuitive guidance in her coaching sessions at the Wide Haven Spa in West Sedona, as well as for her virtual global clients on Zoom. Whether through retreats, workshops, or private sessions, Barbara blends science and spirit to help others reconnect with their true essence and restore well-being. Welcome, Barbara. You have really touched on so many aspects of our culture.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invitation, Dr. Beth. I'm excited to have some fun with you today.
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to this interview. And when we talked before, I didn't realize how steeped you were in the military and in Western medicine.
Yes.
Before you came around to the alternative options.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it was a lot of hard knocks, I would say, the training and the rigidity of not just my childhood, but going into the military and then going into the Mayo Clinic. It's very regimented. And so learning to break that and to be more flowing and to have more ease was a huge lesson for me. So much needed, though.
And how was that received when you started softening the edges?
Well, I remember sitting at Mayo Clinic in actually a pilot study that I was invited to attend, and sat there and just rolled my eyes the whole time. I'm thinking, this is breathing. Like, why are we talking about breathing? I know how to breathe. And so I was really a little rigid and resistant to this until I saw the sensor, which measures heart rate variability from heart math. And that's when I saw, wow, one, my nervous system is shot. Two, no wonder I'm having chest pain. No wonder I'm having high blood pressure. And so to me, that visual gave me the opening to actually go into my heart and to drop in and to find more ease and self-regulation. So it was surprising to me.
So it was at the Mayo Clinic through one of their programs that you were introduced to these alternative methods. Yeah. And then where did it go from realizing, oh my gosh, I'm not as calm as I thought I was. I'm not as healthy as I thought I was.
Yeah. It took me a while to really wrap my brain around it, wrap my heart around it. But I was invited to become one of the trainers for Mayo Clinic. And that's where I learned to be able to kind of express the information that I learned and to share it with others and kind of share my own stories. For me, it was, being able to teach physicians and nurses. And we actually trained over 1,600 people through this pilot study while I was there at the hospital, and very well received by many. I would say that for some people it was surprising as they noticed that they were kinder, they weren't reacting as much, their sleep improved. And so it was those anecdotal pieces that we saw that really validated for me that not only this is all science-based, but to see it in people that you knew that were sharing their stories. And they were so grateful to say, "Oh my gosh, I think this is life-changing. It saved my marriage. It saved my my organization." So that's really where I started to get very interested in teaching this out to the public as well.
Yeah, and so what you were teaching at the Mayo Clinic was a program called Heart Math.
Correct, yes.
So tell us, what is Heart Math?
So Heart Math is a organization out of California. And I have to share my disclaimer, I'm not speaking on behalf of Heart Math. I'm a Heart Math trainer. But they are steeped in over 30 years of research and evidence in how physiologically we can change our nervous system, how we can change our reactivity. And there are so many studies. Actually, this is in all branches of the United States government. So as a veteran, I'm also helping people to really pre-deployment, to prepare themselves, to help them post-deployment. And again, with Mayo Clinic, they would never have brought this in if there was not a science backing. It sounds very woo, and it's just breathing, but it's really not breathing techniques alone. The breath work is the entry point into a state of coherence, specifically focusing on the heart. And that's really the heart of Heart Math, is really the foundation, and the energetic comes from the heart itself and then flows to the rest of the body.
It's so powerful to see, because it's so powerful to see these modalities come into the Western model. And I started my journey through mindfulness-based stress reduction and watching what happened with my colleagues as they relaxed and their relationships changed and sleep changed and everybody started to soften. It's the same type of thing. So tell us, what is heart coherence?
So heart coherence is a physiological state. It's a measurable state of alignment and coordination and synchronization, specifically in the nervous system. So we have the two branches, the fight or flight. We typically associate with the sympathetic branch, which speeds up the heart rate and primes us to respond to emergencies. It's wonderful. The parasympathetic branch is more of the rest and digest, kind of saves our energy as well. When these two branches are in alignment or in a state of coherence, their signal from the heart actually goes up to the brain and cues the brain to produce different biochemicals. And so the more we can be in a state of coherence intentionally, we start to be, I would say, smarter. We perform better. We sleep better. And it's just different for each person. But that state of coherence is really what Heart Math has been studying for over 30 years.
So it's the balance between the parasympathetic and sympathetic. And I think our culture tends to be far more out of balance in the sympathetic system. Yeah. And that can lead to, like I've touched on in previous interviews, digestive disturbances, sleep, neurotransmitter imbalances, even postural abnormalities and alignment with the body. Yeah. So I want to get in, I want to know, I want people to be able to create a visual of what this looks like. So it's breathing techniques, but there's some metrics to these. So how do you get the metrics so that it can be scientifically studied and you can see, because it's almost like a biofeedback type of process.
Yes.
Where you do the exercises, but then you're seeing something that tells you what you're doing.
It's true. It's, a lot of people, most of the clients that I work with, my coaching clients and my training groups, we include the Inner Balance Coherence Plus sensor. So it's a sensor that goes on the ear, and it measures not just the heart rate, but the space between the beats, because that's, even we think about in normal physiology. As a cardiac ICU nurse, I never learned this. I just assumed that your heart rate is about the same, and it's not. Beat to beat, it changes, and it's that metric that this algorithm inside the sensor is actually measuring. With the newest sensor, it's about 500 times per second. So it's really, really strongly correlated with longer HRV programming. What I would say is you download the app, put the sensor on your ear, and all of a sudden you start to see not only your heart rate, but also this pattern or a rhythm that starts to happen. And depending on which app you're using, it is going to give you a visual display of whether you're coherent, either low coherence or medium coherence or high coherence. The goal is to be in the green. It's a green color. And you just start to see this smooth wave start to emerge. And that's really what helps me and helps my clients to see, oh, I'm in a state of coherence right now. I will guarantee as soon as we think about it or we look at the sensor, you look at the app, we're in the head and we're typically red. We're typically more incoherent. So that's the fun, is you get to refocus back on the heart, back on the breath, and then activate some type of renewing feeling, maybe the emotion of appreciation or love or compassion. And that is when you start to see those numbers get higher and your coherence gets more sustained and the numbers get higher. That's a really great incentive. It was for me, for sure.
And what's so funny when you were talking about being a cardiac nurse, well, around the corner and down the hall on the OB ward, we knew exactly what cardiac beat-to-beat variability was, because that's how we monitor fetuses. Yeah. So all of this technology actually came out of fetal heart rate tracing. So anyone that's had a wife on or has been on labor and delivery having a baby, they put the baby on the monitor. And this is one of the parameters that we look at, because I'm an obstetrician, to tell how the baby is managing the stress of labor. Yeah. And sometimes they, most of the time, the ones that I've been dealing with lately are doing fine. They're happy, their heart rate's just bouncing around in there. But when we do have situations where the baby is stressed, like the placenta is trying to separate or there's meconium, like usually we see that heart rate flatten out, and then we know that the resilience is not there.
Yeah. And that flattened heart rate, what you were talking about, that rhythm, when that really gets flat, mine was almost flatline when I had this back in Mayo Clinic. And I thought, well, what's wrong? And I had no idea, because when I got the sensor, and I thought it was broken. I gave it to my chief nurse, who invited me to be a part of the program. And I said, Debbie, I think this is broken. And she said, why? I said, well, it's red. It can't be. And she laughed. She knew exactly what I was talking about. And she said, Barb, we just normalize stress. We're walking around with a very high threshold of stress, and we think that we're pushing through, we're thriving, but really the body is dying, I would say.
Tapped out.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah, especially now, watching violent movies, checking stressful text messages and emails and the news before we go to bed. Like, how can we even get quality sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
So what are the benefits? So we've talked that, you weren't in cardiac coherence, you were red, you were flatlined. So I'd like to hear about your journey of finding this coherence, the exercises that you did, the feedback that you saw, and how it can benefit people like it benefited you.
Yeah, I think for me, the benefits really depend on the person. Really depends on what their metric is going to be. So when I work with a coaching client, I would say, what do you want to improve? It might be sleep, it might be energy, which for me I was really running on fumes. I had zero energy. And so what I started to notice is, with these techniques, which again is not just breathing techniques, but activating that heart feeling, which for me it was not easy because I was an ICU nurse, ER trauma nurse, so I had been trained to not feel because we have to just keep going because here's another patient, here's another crisis. And so when somebody would say, well, how do you feel? Well, I don't know, I guess fine. It didn't even strike me that I couldn't even activate a feeling intentionally. So that was my first introduction into, wow, we've got a problem. And so when I started doing that, I started to notice that it was difficult at first. It takes time. And what I learned through this program is we didn't get this way overnight. This is not going to be an overnight magic wand for sure. But the consistent practice, what we see with consistent practice of heart coherence and heart rate variability metrics is brain fog can lift. We start to be less reactive. For me, I had more bandwidth. I could take more because back then it was any little thing would just set me off. My tendency, my default was anger. And it didn't matter if it was somebody cutting me off on the freeway or if it was somebody that looked at me funny or they made my coffee wrong. It was just very quick to react. I had a very short fuse. So what I share in my stories is that my fuse lengthened and I can now take more. And that's been the beauty of this, is dropping into that heart, not just the physical heart, but also the energetic heart and the spiritual heart and the emotional heart. It's no wonder that there's all these metaphors about the heart. We know things by heart. We, speak from the heart. There's something to that. And that had somehow been lost on me for all these years. And so I found that I'm a kinder person. It's just the joy of getting to see people drop into their hearts and have that moment of breakthrough is priceless.
Yeah. So one of the things I learned in my functional medicine training was when we can be in coherence, or any one person can be in coherence with a balanced sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system and the heart radiating this positive energy, we can actually pull others into coherence who are around us within, what is the distance, 3 feet?
3 feet, yeah. Measurable.
So if we're staying conversational distance from someone and you are working really hard to, you don't even, it's like if you're just in coherence, then you can pull that person, you can actually make that person more calm. And we probably have been, anyone can name some conversations that they've been in where they did feel calmer with that person, or felt more stressed out.
For sure. It's contagious, this energetic field. And you're right, the 3 feet is what's measurable. Does it go beyond the 3 feet? Of course. We walk into a room, or we walk into a doctor's office, or we walk in at a coffee shop or anywhere, and you can feel the vibe. And so this is the beauty of the work from the Heart Math Institute, is they've measured this magnetic field, electromagnetic field, and it is like a carrier wave. It broadcasts what we're feeling. So when I was angry back in the day, my husband would say, wow, I can feel you from a mile away. And I'm like, wow, because I could broadcast very strongly when I was angry. I could clearly, it didn't have to say a word. And the beauty of it is, once we begin to realize that we're feeding the field, we're feeding our electromagnetic field, so we get to be the healer. We get to be the healing environment. And that's why I love teaching this at the hospitals, because we, as the practitioner, walk into that room and we can influence that patient to have more calm, more ease. I don't know, even if they're getting a really bad diagnosis, to have that coherent cocoon around them, to know that they're heard or they're seen. It's such a gift that we can give without even any words.
And help the family with the news or whatever is happening.
Absolutely,
Yeah. I've found it really helpful in obstetrics.
I bet.
To walk into a room where everybody's running around and knowing that I'm calming it down.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's huge. And some of us have this, we're wired that way. Some people are just that calming presence. And some of us, thank goodness, it's a teachable skill that we can learn that.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Talk us through what it would look like if someone wanted to start training with you.
Sure. So the first thing that I would do is to get a baseline, just to see where are they, and to maybe really look at some of their goals and say, what are you seeking? It could be communication. It could be problem solving. sleep, energy. It could be maybe somebody's I get a lot of referrals actually from physicians for people with chronic pain or anxiety, things like that. So not that it's a cure-all, but it may lower the intensity of that situation. So basically it's just getting a baseline and then walking them through even the quick coherence technique, which is online. So it's a technique that can be taught. It's out there available. So the process would be just to focus the attention on the area of the heart, and then to take some slow, deep breaths, and just imagine that breath is flowing in and out of that heart or chest area. And then doing it, finding that rhythm that works for the person. It could be 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. It could be longer or shorter. We really want to help the person find whatever rhythm is best for them. And once you start to, on the sensor, you can actually start to see with the breath, just with the in-breath and the out-breath, now that it's paced, that rhythm starts to come into a more coherent state. Then we add the feeling. So be identifying what is something that you are grateful for. What is something that brings you calm? Maybe it's a memory or a picture on your iPhone that you can look at. And now just recalling that feeling and actually intentionally feeling that feeling. And before you know it, in about maybe 1 or 2 minutes, you get to really see the effects of that. Now, as a beginner, we just start with the breath sometimes, because that in and of itself can be challenging depending on the baseline. But with consistent practice, we start to see that all of a sudden it's more calm. Oftentimes I ask them, what do you notice? What's different? Well, yeah, my heart rate slowed down. I didn't even realize my heart was racing. Yeah, or my brain is more clear, or my shoulders dropped. I didn't even know I was stressed. So it's those awarenesses that I like to have people have the felt sense in addition to seeing it on the sensor, because you're not going to have the sensor with you all the time necessarily. We want to teach you these techniques different than meditation. This is a technique that once you practice it behind the scenes, you're rewiring your neural pathways. And now you can use these techniques while you're driving or while you're in a conversation that's getting heated. It's an in-the-moment type of technique, which really was very exciting for me, because I didn't imagine you have a code blue or you have a baby being born. It's like, excuse me, I have to take a moment. I'm going to step away. And it's like, no, we need you right now. So in those moments of pressure, to be able to call on that technique is huge.
So I was going to ask you about this, how it's different from traditional meditation. It's like walking meditation. It's an active meditation.
That's right. And what we would say is, can it be a part of meditation techniques? For sure. Some people will do 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes per day of meditation anyway. And it may be similar to what folks are already doing. If you're focusing on the heart, that heart is the catalyst. To me, it's the anchor that really creates the biochemical changes in the body. So it could be used alongside meditation, or it could be used in the moment. For example, if I'm teaching a class and it may be a 3-hour class, I can really stay in that heart coherent state because I'm used to doing it. And it's just a part of me where I'm constantly going back to the heart, feeling gratitude for, I get to be doing this. This is so awesome. And doing that slow breathing. And so that is how I get to sustain the practice with my eyes open. And really nobody would know I'm doing it, because I'm not, I don't have to have I'm not clutching my chest and doing those slow deep breaths where people would go, wow, are you okay? Yeah. I'm fine. That was actually made me laugh, though. I just thought about this when we were practicing this at the hospital. You could see when we were doing a heart math class, the security officers would walk by certain cars and say, knock on the door, are you okay? And they're like, I'm practicing my techniques. Because it looks like people are just holding their, their heart and their chest. It's like, I'm just practicing. I'm fine. There's always the big joke that they would tell us, we know you just did a class, because people are in the parking lot before they come into work practicing these techniques. So it was very cute.
That's beautiful. Did the security officers show up?
They did. The dispatchers did. It was so many different people because we realized that it helped them to de-escalate. When you have a call coming in, or you're going out to respond to a person that's violent or doing something where you need to be your best and you don't want to overreact, taking these classes helps you to communicate better. And they just, it was so fun just to see big guys coming in to these, softer skill classes. But nowadays we need these softer skills, because the environments just can be very uncertain and challenging.
Yes, and we are able to admit that we need them now.
Yes,
which is very nice. Can someone learn heart math techniques on their own?
For sure. Yes. So there's so many things online. If you were to go to heartmath.com or heartmath.org, there are just a lot of resources out there. The technique that I just walked us through, the quick coherence technique, is out there as well. It's under free resources, so absolutely you can learn it. This is not rocket science. Mm-hmm. What I found, there's also apps. So if someone were to buy the sensor, there's an app that has a lot of techniques that they can be walked through. So for sure, most people I think do that. What we say as a coach and as a trainer, if you want motivation, if you need some momentum, and you really want somebody to be a cheerleader for you and to hold you accountable, because sometimes it's very easy to, until you have a new habit formed, you're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. And so that's when people contact me and say, all right, I'm ready. I need some help. And it may just be up. Usually I would say 4 sessions is no more is what people need, just to get them going, keep them accountable, and to really cheerlead for them and say, look at what you're doing. You're doing beautifully. So it's absolutely whatever the person feels they would benefit from. There's the resources out there for them.
Okay, good. And yeah, heartmath.com is a great resource center.
It is, yeah.
There's a lot of really good information on there, research and directions on how to start a practice.
Yeah, the heartmath.com is more of the for-profit, I would say. So it's technology. It's more for hospital training and for healthcare professionals. The heartmath.org is really the research basis, as well as maybe education and other nonprofit sources. So there's 2 great websites, a little bit different, but they're under the same umbrella.
Okay. So you did walk us through quickly the quick coherence. I'd like to take 5 minutes.
Yes.
And you could probably do this while you're driving because you get to keep your eyes open.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. And as I remember, we focus on the heart and then we imagine that we're breathing in and out through the space that is our heart.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so the idea would be then to people sometimes might ask, well, I do breathing techniques. I do a lot of other things. Why do we focus on the heart? And what science shows is that wherever you place your attention in the body, the energy will flow there. It's almost like you're activating and igniting that area is the barbism that I always share. But it is, so you certainly can, if you're driving, you can put a hand on your heart if you wish. You don't have to, or just bring your attention to that area. And then I will walk us through. So just focus your attention in the area of the heart. And imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or your chest area. And breathing a little bit slower and deeper than usual. And find an easy rhythm that's comfortable. And as you continue that heart-focused breathing, set an intention to activate a renewing feeling. Maybe a regenerative feeling of appreciation or care for someone or something in your life. And that could be a special memory. It could be your pet. Could be someone that you really appreciate. It could be a place in nature. Whatever memory you can go to. It's almost like you're time traveling back to that place. And recalling, what do you see? What do you hear? Who's with you? And most importantly, what do you feel? And if at any point there's a distraction, something comes up, you have a thought, maybe just bring your attention back to the heart. That's your anchor. And then back to the breath. and back to that renewing feeling. And you can now imagine that your heart is replenishing you. It actually is sending biochemicals that will replenish you, recharge your inner battery. You may feel relaxed. And just imagining that you are filling your cup. You're filling your battery right now. And as you're filling your own cup, we're going to go back to that idea that you mentioned, that you're now broadcasting that emotion, that feeling, to maybe somebody else that's in the car with you. It could be somebody in your family. If you're at home, you could be sitting on the couch together. You're now broadcasting that frequency of appreciation or calm or ease. And so that is the gift. And so my question is typically, what do you notice? Either in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, what's changed, if anything?
I feel a little more energized.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it fun and I love that you said that, because that's where people get really surprised, is to say, wow, I thought I would be more relaxed. And what we do find is that we do get more energized. Sometimes we have alert, calm. It's a very interesting state. That's called a state of ease, where I'm more alert, I'm able to manage, and I have more inner stability, inner stillness, but more energy at the same time. That's so great.
That's resilience.
Yes.
Right there. You can keep trucking.
That's right.
Yeah, more flexibility. So beautiful. So we didn't talk about this before, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Can you talk about heart energy? And there's so much literature about it now.
Heart energy. So that's such a broad topic. Wow.
Yeah, the power of the heart energy.
Yeah. To me, it is very interesting because, again, I had to have the visual of this. So there is a way in the HeartMath app to measure frequency. And so there is, if you're a scientist, this is always my disclaimer when I share this with my students or my clients, my coaching clients, is to say that when you are in a state of appreciation or gratitude, maybe love, authenticity, compassion, they have a unique signature. So every emotion has a very unique fingerprint, let's say. And if you're a scientist, you can see what somebody might be experiencing in terms of emotion. And so that's the beauty of, we get to choose. I call it an emotional playlist, because I want to have the ability to wire in and practice behind the scenes a state of calm when it's needed. I want to be able to wire in a state of excitement or confidence. So when I'm speaking on a stage, calm is not going to do it. I need to be a little bit more amplified and a little bit more fun and passionate. So being able to, on demand, tune into something that I've been practicing for months, or sometimes it didn't even take that long. For me, it took a little longer. I'm a little slow, but it worked. So the power of the heart, being able to measure that, not only with the heart rate variability monitor, with the sensor, but also using a device that I like to use in my practice called a BioWell, that I can measure somebody's heart chakra. I can measure all the chakras. And to be able to see before and after these practices, the voltage and the amplitude of the heart chakra increases and it becomes more aligned. That's next level to me. It makes the invisible, what seems very woo, it brings it credibility and validity. And that's where people get to see, wow, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm intending, what I'm smelling in terms of an essential oil makes a difference, and it's measurable.
Yeah, we're taking... Science is showing us that all these practices that have been in place for 5,000 years really are valid.
Yes. Yes. It's a science and spirit. It's been around forever. And so we kind of compartmentalize it and we get into the head and get into the brain and analyze. And really, if we can drop into the heart can give us the source of wisdom. It helps us to tap into intuition. And that was another thing that I really was surprised about was I was really relying on my intellect and my, the analysis and the research, and that's beautiful. And the heart can also be the gateway to deeper wisdom and that discernment to say, what does my heart want me to know? That's what I do every single day when I do this practice. When I'm ending it, I say, all right, love, what do you want me to know right now? And I'll get a nudge or I'll get a creative idea and think, that is so awesome. I would never have thought of that because I asked a different question. I asked my heart rather than my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some hieroglyphics in ancient Egypt about a warrior trying to choose between, does he listen to his head or to his heart when he's in battle?
Wow.
And I think he was actually battling his own inner demons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really beautiful analogy for how we manage ourselves.
Yes, and we're so brain-centric now, and it's wonderful. Again, I'm not dissing the brain because I love my mind and the ability and the capacity to strategize and troubleshoot and be creative. And when this is kind of what we talk about even with heart math, we're not dismissing the brain. We're realizing that when the signals from the heart are going up to the brain, because really the heart speaks louder than the brain. It's about 80% of the conversation is going upward. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. I thought the brain was it. It controlled everything. And then beginning to realize if I can manage my emotions, if I can influence my heart rhythms, it's going to impact my brain. My brain will become smarter. I'll be able to be more effective, more efficient, problem solve from a whole different bandwidth. It's very limiting what the mind has. The heart is limitless.
That's beautiful. And we've also learned about the signals that the gut sends up to the brain. So the gut and the heart and who knows what else is informing the brain really about what to do. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I'm just honored to get to be here with you and to share this. It's been life-changing for me, and it's just the ability to share this simple technique is I think if everybody was, and I think that's kind of the idea of what Heart Math shares is, changing the universe or changing the planet one heart at a time. And it's through the awareness, it's through the activation of the heart, and being able to kind of being willing to drop into the heart, to ask for assistance and to ask for guidance. It's so very, very different than what we do right now, but it's to what you're saying. This has been around for thousands of years. People have known this. So I think we're unlearning some of the things that have gotten in our way. So
true. And it can be discounted for being too easy.
Yes.
Talking about the heart and love. And
yes,
that's too easy. And it's simple. And it's challenging. And it doesn't have to be hard to make a difference.
It's true, and a lot of when I'm working with veterans and with military, I'm going to add one other thing, is just so interesting because to me, we often think that, we're going to talk about feelings. People say the F word. I'm like, no, it's feelings. We're going to talk about that. And the fun part is it doesn't have to be this soft, squishy love. The heart is also the source of confidence and bravery and passion and dignity and valor. So really speaking that language, what ignites the heart, as you were saying, the warrior. Yes, they're doing something that is really selfless and defending. How do you ignite and amplify and give them credibility and give them energy? It doesn't always have to be we're going to be calm. We can really tap into some higher heart rate emotions as well, and that will be just as recharging.
Like when you're public speaking.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, thank you. It's been so much fun to have you here. And I love Heart Math. It's because I love the simple things that make such an impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the invitation and for letting me get to share this part of my heart with you and with the audience. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Barb for being here. This is Rooted in Healing on KAZM 106.5 FM, 780 AM. And I'm Dr. Beth Claxton. We'll be right back after these messages.
For more information on Dr. Beth Claxton, visit BethClaxtonMD.com. And now, more Rooted in Healing with Dr. Beth Claxton.
Welcome back. Thanks for hanging in there and joining us to the end. I'm Dr. Beth Claxton, and we had a really fun interview today with Barb Hudak. She's a trainer with the HeartMath Institute, and she talked about HeartMath, and she talked about her own personal journey to the space that is HeartMath and how it can help us return resiliency to our everyday life. And I find HeartMath so amazing because we can actually monitor what's going on in our brain and our heart and the connection that that's having, what's happening in our nervous system. Are we strung out? Because sometimes we get so strung out that we don't even realize that we're strung out. And this modality is so easy to clip on the ear, look at the monitor. I've been teaching meditation, which is a part of this space, for 13 years. And I am so grateful to have this modality because when I started the meditation, it felt like a mystery to me what was going on, but I was watching people change. I was watching people get stronger. And the research does show that completing an 8-week meditation course does help us in so many ways. It helps our immune system create immunity to the flu. After given a flu vaccine, people that took an 8-week meditation class actually had a higher immune response. It helps us relieve eczema. It helps us with hot flushes. It helps us so many different levels. Almost every single branch of medicine has been studied with the tool of mindfulness. And this 8-week class is called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction. I was so impressed by this class the first time I took it that I wanted to become a teacher. So I did, and I'm offering this course beginning September 25th, 2025. We're going to have the orientation call at 5:30 in the evening, and the course is going to start on October 1st. It's a 2.5-hour course every week for 8 weeks, and I would love to have you there. Go to BethClaxtonMD.com to register, and the course is free. I think that everybody needs it right now, especially right now, and if you drop out, that's when we'll charge your credit card. And the truth is, I don't want to make a cent on this. I want everyone to understand the benefits of mindfulness and meditation. So once again, we're wrapping up another episode of Rooted in Healing on KAZM 106.5 FM, 780 AM, Mellow Mountain Radio. Join us on Saturdays at 9 a.m. and keep seeking the root to your vibrancy.
For more information on Dr. Beth Claxton, visit BethClaxtonMD.com.